The new Galaxy Watch 5 Pro is Samsung's latest flagship smartwatch, but unlike last year's flagship, the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic, this does not have a physical rotating bezel. In fact, there's a few things that Samsung removed that may lead you to wonder whether or not the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro is worthy of an upgrade. So if you have the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic, is it worth getting the 5 Pro? Or if you don't have either one, which one's actually the better one to buy? With the same processor, the same display size, and a very, very different price tag, this really is a good question. So in this video, we'll dive into all of that and more. But I want to start off with the design. That's going to be one of the biggest differences you notice between these. By the way, I'm looking in the little monitor here and I realized my eye's like super red right now. I promise there's nothing wrong. I literally, right before I started filming this video, I walked outside and a bug flew directly into my eye. Anyway, that's what's going on there. Nothing wrong with my eye, but in case you were wondering, that's what's up. The Galaxy Watch 5 Pro has improved scratch resistance on the display, has a sunken-in display as well, and that combination gives you better durability, so you're less likely to have this get scratched when you're rock climbing or doing something more extreme. Now, the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic definitely has a slightly sunken-in display as well, but it's not quite as sunken in as the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, or at least it's more of an extreme, like quick little sink in there, because the size of the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, despite having the same display size, or approximately the same display size, the overall body size is 1 millimeter smaller. So 45 millimeters on the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro versus 46 on the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. So very slightly smaller there, but the downside is that there's only one size of this. The Galaxy Watch 4 Classic came in a 42 and a 46 millimeter version. So if you have a smaller wrist, you're kind of out of luck with the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. I'm not entirely sure why Samsung did that. And along with that same theme of durability, we have a titanium body, which keeps it relatively light. So a lot of people are talking about the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro being very chunky and really heavy. But after wearing this and running with it, maybe it's because of the strap a little bit, but I really find that this watch doesn't feel like a large watch on my wrist. In fact, it's very, very comfortable. And like I said, I think a lot of that has to do with the strap. Now, of course, you can replace the strap, or you could even buy this exact strap and put it on the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic. But the strap that comes with the 5 Pro has a really nice little magnetic snap right there, and it's infinitely adjustable through a little click on the back. And then when you put it on, it snaps into place very much like a metal bracelet, although it is made of silicone, and so that makes it perfect for working out. An unfortunate side effect of the sapphire glass is that, as you can see right here, it seems to catch a little bit more of a glare. And the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro also has a slightly different architecture for the health sensor array on the back of the watch, which they claim gives you better accuracy. Now, we'll get into an accuracy test in a second, but essentially the design, when you look at it, that does make it a slightly thicker watch. But when you're wearing it, as I mentioned before, you don't really notice that. The biggest difference is that the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro doesn't have a physical rotating bezel. Now, you have a digital bezel, so you can put your finger on the display and just kind of swirl around, and it works well, but it's not a physical rotating bezel. And one of the biggest reasons people were choosing the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic over the TicWatch or the Fossil Gen 6 or a lot of other watches out there was because of that physical rotating bezel. There's really just nothing else, no other experience in the smartwatch world that is quite as nice, as satisfying and premium as that physical rotating bezel. And also, if we're talking about durability, the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic is made out of stainless steel, which is a pretty durable material, and the display is still sunken in here, so anything hitting from the corner would more likely damage your bezel than the actual watch face itself. So from that standpoint, everyone's saying that the Galaxy Watch 5 Classic is more durable, but I don't know if in real life that would really make a measurable or noticeable difference. So in that sense, the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic not only has that rotating bezel, but also looks nicer as well. I think stainless steel, the body on here, looks more premium. In addition, we actually have tick marks rather than just a massive black bezel around the display. I think at the very least, Samsung probably should have added tick marks on the 5 Pro. And of course, did I mention it doesn't have a rotating bezel, right? That's gonna be a recurring theme here. The rotating bezel, I know some people might say, Mike, like, why are you beating up on this rotating bezel? So what? Get over it. But if you've ever used it, you would probably agree with me that that's one of the biggest selling features or selling points of the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic that Samsung just got rid of here. As for why Samsung got rid of the rotating bezel, they claimed it was to fit a larger battery in here, but I assume there's also something related to the price there, being that making a rotating bezel definitely can't be cheap. Considering that this is a lot more expensive though, I am surprised that Samsung didn't find a way to incorporate it. But the physical differences are not the extent of the story here. There are some other improvements to the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro versus last year's model, one of them being the temperature sensor on the back. We also have sleep coaching and some other things that they kind of added from a software perspective that I'll talk about in a second, but really one of the big ones, besides just the temperature sensor, which can be used for more accurate sleep tracking and things like that, is actually the shape of the sensors on the back. So this architecture, from my experience, does actually give you better readings because it doesn't move around as much on my wrist. I'm able to wear this, it feels very comfortable, and it doesn't move around nearly as much when I'm going for a run. So I went for a 4-mile run today with both these watches on, as well as a Polar H10 heart rate strap, which is our known accurate sensor. And as you can see here, they both did a pretty decent job, but I didn't see a measurable improvement for the Watch 5 Pro. If anything, the Watch 4 Classic technically did a better job here. As far as what is the same, we're getting the same bioimpedance, ECG, heart rate sensor, GPS, the whole large suite of health tracking capabilities between these watches. And so other than maybe a marginally more accurate GPS on here, we're really not seeing that much of a difference. As far as the internals go, there is a substantially larger battery on the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, and besides the durability, that's really the other main selling point here. Both of them are rated to charge up in 110 minutes from the charger, but you're getting a massive, massive battery, almost double the battery life on the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, which from my experience is giving me approximately 3 full days if I'm using this pretty heavily with a run every day. Whereas the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic, this is the larger version, I could say you'll probably get maybe if you're lucky, you'll get 2 days, right? But usually it'll be about 1.5, maybe a little bit more than 1.5 days per charge with this watch. So both of them are better than like an Apple Watch, I would say, but neither of them compete with a lot of sports watches out there, which if you saw my original review of the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, that was kind of my complaint. I'm saying that if you're trying to compare this as an everyday smartwatch, the Watch 4 Classic has that rotating bezel, and it's going to be a better device. But if you're comparing it with the sports watches from Garmin and Suunto and Coros and a lot of the other ones out there, then the battery life on here being 3 days or 4 days at most is nowhere near like the 30-day battery life or even longer you'll see from some of Garmin's devices that have a solar panel on them. In addition, between these two devices, we have the same processor, which I thought was kind of surprising, the same RAM, and the same storage. We do have Bluetooth 5.2 on the 5 Pro versus 5.0 on the 4 Classic, so a marginal improvement in Bluetooth standards as well. And as far as software goes, Samsung loves to do this thing when they have very similar watches where they add new watch faces, they add some new software that probably could be an upgrade further on down the road, but at the moment, if you want that software, you have to get the higher model. And so as far as that, that little category is concerned, we are getting new watch faces that are more like extreme sport focused, so they'll show you things like quick access to workouts and things like that. We also have route tracking capabilities, which I think is great. In the past, I would always just get the Komoot app, but now if you want to track routes, you can just download a GPX file, put that on your watch, track where you're going for trail running or biking or something like that. And they also have a nice trackback feature, so if you get lost on a network of trails, you can easily find your way back to the start. And if you're still on the fence between the two of these, here's the kicker. The price. Now, Samsung's notorious for changing their prices all the time and putting out big sales, so I will have links in the description below as well as in a pinned comment. You guys feel free to check the latest prices, but at the time of making this video, it's $450 for the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro, just the base model, versus $350 and $380 for the Watch 4 Classic. $350 for the smaller, $380 for the larger version of that, which as of making this video, those are both $50 off. So you're looking at $450 versus $300 to $330. So about a $150 price difference between these watches. So which one should you actually get? Well, considering they have really the same processor, you're getting a rotating bezel on the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic, and you're getting mostly the same software, the same health sensors, really a nearly identical watch. I would say for most people, the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic is just such a compelling buy right now. But if you really need that extra battery life, and if you really care a lot more about working out, then the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro would be a better bet for you. For me personally, I do a lot of running and I do a lot of like different workouts, so I like the longer battery. I also, although I love the rotating bezel, I find that this was never my favorite watch to really run or work out with because it does move around a lot. And so the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro definitely has its perks there. And this might come as a little bit of a surprise. Even though I recommend the Galaxy Watch 4 Classic, for me personally, I will be using the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro. I will miss the rotating bezel, but I prefer the longer battery life and the more fitness-oriented design. I would say, in general, it's kind of like this. These aren't necessarily a one-to-one comparison. I would say, in general, you're getting more durable materials, a longer battery, but a higher price on here with a non-rotating bezel. And that's because rather than being an iteration, a newer Galaxy Watch Classic, this is a totally different lineup. And if I were going to rename this, I would say the Galaxy Watch 5 Pro is really more like the Galaxy Watch 4 rugged, right? So you look at these side by side and say there's a classic model and there's a rugged model. I wouldn't look at them as one being an upgrade over the other, but leave a comment below and let me know which of these you would rather buy and what you think Samsung should do next. Should they come out with a Galaxy Watch 5 Classic in the winter? I would love to see it, but let me know what you guys think. As always, if you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. I'm Mike O'Brien. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.